Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Haley and today we're talking all about mastery, which is the 16th SIDDHI state within this gene key called magical genius. Okay, mastery. The first thing I think of when I hear that word is Japan. They are known for being masters at their crafts. You know, there's that, gosh, I'm totally misplacing the word, but the Japanese word that describes the pottery when it breaks and they put it back together with gold. I think of Japanese knives, how they're like the best knives for the kitchen. I just think of, the Japanese as a whole, because they really understand this concept of mastery and demonstrate it in and through their art and cooking and expertise and sushi and food. That was kind of the first thing that popped into my head. If you've watched any of these videos, you'll know that sometimes I do this, where before I even get into Richard Rudd's contemplations, I like to just see what comes up. So I offer you that same opportunity. What comes up when you hear the word mastery, before you hear what Richard Rudd has to say about it? And then obviously you've already heard what I have had to say about mastery. But yeah, what else comes up for you when you hear that word? Maybe you think of a specific person or something you are specifically a master at. It's always interesting to see what surfaces. He takes us back to referencing the shadow frequency of this gene key magical genius, which is indifference, right? Graduating from the shadow of indifference into the gift of versatility and then stabilizing within the SIDDHI state of mastery. And he reminds us that indifference is caused by lack of enthusiasm and therefore the inability to identify with what you are doing. So he reminds us of the foundation of this gene key: indifference, lack of enthusiasm, which once again, once we start to conjure up that enthusiasm, we ignite ourselves into a gift frequency of versatility. Enthusiasm is the fuel that versatility needs to churn the wheel. And if you've watched the past videos within this 16th gene key, you'll be reminded then of what I'm about to say, which is the way to go from skilled to talented, from indifference to versatile, is to have this enthusiasm once again harnessed within your being. You can't really graduate to talent if you don't have a genuine joy flowing through you. So yeah, it's interesting because in past gene keys, he doesn't always necessarily remind us about the foundation of the shadow and gift frequency before talking about the SIDDHI state. But within this chapter, he makes a very prominent point to go over indifference and versatility, how they differentiate, and then build upon that in order to explain mastery. And he does this to drive home the point that you're no longer fixed to a single discipline when you are embodying the SIDDHI state of mastery. And now you're starting to view life at a holistic level. So you can apply your talent, or what you're a master at, across an entire spectrum of science and art without any dogmatic limitation. He says that you're tapping the natural laws behind all of life's processes. So for example, he says you can be an artist, but you're also embracing business. And we talked about this within the gift frequency. You're not completely identified with only one talent or skill, right? You're open, you're versatile, you're tapping into many opportunities, things, people, places that come to you, and endeavoring into them with joy. This is the hallmark of versatility, right? And so going from gift to SIDDHI state, then he says that you're even more loosening that identification. And you're erasing your identification so much, even with this concept of being open and being versatile, that you become completely empty of all identification. You are now just an empty vessel that life force is utilizing to flow through. You're essentially a pure channel. I just am. So 0 labels are left. It's not the shadow frequency of I am a painter, which is very limited, right? It's just that one thing. So, okay, for example, shadow frequency being I am a painter, that's it. That's my box. I don't delve out into any other form of art or form of science or form of business. I'm just a painter. Okay, and then graduating that into the gift frequency of versatility could be more like I paint. I'm not a painter. It's not a label. Painting is one of the things that I do, which again implies that I do many more things and I'm open to doing more things that I have not yet done. So the shadow frequency says I'm a painter. The gift frequency says I paint. It's just one of the things that I do. And the SIDDHI state says I just am. If painting comes into my sphere, I engage with that as a pure channel. It's not even something that I am doing. I just am. So the SIDDHI state doesn't even identify with the act of painting. So this is very nuanced, right? They are painting, but they aren't taking credit for the painting. The doing of the painting is a channel that's flowing through them, a channel of energy. And so the reason this is so hard to explain is because it, once again, is a SIDDHI state, escaping the confines of limited human language. And there's 0 label here. There's an absence of identification holistically. There's no more levels, there's no more hierarchy. That's going back to Gene Key 7. And Gene Key 7, the SIDDHI state, is virtue, which is a different way to describe mastery, essentially. Okay, so this person that is embodied within the SIDDHI state of mastery does not identify with anything, does whatever is presented to them in the moment, eloquently, beautifully, and seemingly magically well. There's no barriers, there's no limits, meaning you could quite literally hand this person a paintbrush and they would probably create something beautiful. You could also have them sit in front of a piano and they would also eloquently play that, even if they've never touched it before. This is like magical territory we're entering, this absence of identification. Because in the absence of saying I'm a painter, I paint, I'm a writer, I write, I play piano, I make music, in all of this absence, it creates an unlimitedness. And in this unlimitedness, there is infinite potential to be tapped into. And once again, this is opening that channel to the divine, to Shakti, to life force energy, whatever you want to call it, that movement inside of you and outside of you. It's activating the blueprint of mastery of all human fields of endeavor, he says. All human fields. Art, music, science, business, culinary, sport. You know, I could go on. There's no limit. This person has access to every single field because they are aligning with the nature of unlimitedness in not taking labels, in not identifying. And I'll just add that this is a choice this individual makes with more than just the mind, right? Conceptually, you can't just decide, okay, I'm not going to take on any labels. and then act that out. It has to be a choice that's made with the mind and the body, with the soul and the heart as well. And as I say that, I realize you who's watching might be like, well, then how do I do that? That's exactly my point here. These SIDDHIC states I cannot explain for you how to do, because how to do this, or how to embody enlightenment of any sort, or any SIDDHIC state for that matter, is not something that you can take notes on and then follow and then achieve. It's not something to be achieved. It's something that dawns upon you in its own way and timing. And yeah, it's a bit mysterious, and that's about as far as I can explain that. He gives us an example. He says this name that I'm totally gonna butcher. Rachmaninov, this pianist that's a legend. Rachmaninov. His third piano concerto is considered one of the most difficult and awesome pieces of the Western classical music in existence. To learn to play this piece of music takes years of substantial practice and discipline, even if you have genuine talent. However, the kinesthetic knowledge of how to play this piece is actually already contained in every single human being alive, because we're all one. Cheesy but true. Someone with this 16th siddhi has direct access to this kinesthetic knowledge, as well as all other knowledge stored in the human DNA. So if you have the 16th siddhi activated of mastery, you could actually play this piece of music on demand, as well as any other piece of music, without even ever having touched a piano in your life. So I know what you're thinking. You're like, really? And this is exactly the point, is to attain the siddhic state of mastery is no small feat. It's literally like jaw-dropping. Like, what do you mean you can never have even touched a piano before and play one of the most epic pieces of music alive? That doesn't even make sense. That's the point. It's not supposed to make sense. Once again, it's a frequency that's emanating from the heart space, not from the mind space. It's not meant to be understood. And it is miraculous. It is unbelievable. It is jaw-dropping and hard to believe. Unbelievable, hard to believe. Same thing. You get my point. It's like, nothing is impossible if you can move your mind out of the way. And like I said earlier, this is so much more than just the mind. It's also the body. It's also the subconscious mind. It's also the heart. So if you can get beyond the mind, you can start to tap into the higher frequencies that emanate from the heart space, and therefore open the portal that allows you to complete endeavors as I just explained. Literally nothing is impossible. And then the contingency being if and only if you can move your mind out of the way. The great conundrum. So, yeah, how do I move my mind out of the way? There's something to contemplate, or sit with, or just feel into. And you could go on Google after this and look up, how do I move the mind out of the way? And you'll see many articles with many techniques, different meditation types, breath works, somatic therapies, retreats. So many people think they have the jurisdiction to tell another how to move the mind out of the way. And all of these are helpful to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, only you know how to move your own mind out of the way. Again, even if this knowledge is not currently conscious to you. You have the keys to your own soul, to your own heart, and as helpful and guidance-oriented other techniques may be, ultimately only you have the keys to unlock you. So that's just something I'll say. And I'll just add one last thing. It is helpful to look at other techniques, to go on Google, to get curious. It's in the curiosity that you can start to find the keys that fit into your own heart space that you've always had. I'll just add that. Okay, moving on. This is all so fluffy to talk about, right? When you attain a SIDDHI state, you attain a kind of cosmic versatility. Ooh, I love the way that sounds, cosmic versatility. The image that comes to me when I read that, cosmic versatility, is like an alien, a version of me that's an alien. It's kind of elevated and shiny because I'm working and operating from the heart. And I have a cosmic versatility, meaning I get to choose which stars I use as my accessories for that day. For some reason, that's like what came into my head. So anyway, you don't have to resonate with that image if you're like, what the fuck, Haley? But that's what popped up. When you attain a SIDDHI state, you attain a kind of cosmic versatility. And your destiny continues to unfold according to your genetic predispositions. So what does that sentence mean to you? I'm not going to try to explain that any further, because if you who's watching didn't already know this, Richard Rudd is also a poet, meaning sometimes he drops bars like that just sound delicious but maybe don't make a lot of sense up here. Maybe they bring you weird visions like it just did for me. Or maybe you're just like, huh? Nonetheless, poetry, I believe, sometimes is meant to just be left as it is, rather than kind of picked apart and deciphered. So I'll read this sentence one more time for you. And yeah, you can marinate with that as you please. When you attain a SIDDHI state, you attain a kind of cosmic versatility, and your destiny continues to unfold according to your genetic predispositions. Dink. That was a mini mic drop. Moving on. He brings us back to this root word enthusiasm, which he's discussed so much within this gene key and within, I believe it's the, I want to say 12th gene key that he loves to talk about. Sorry, 15th gene key he loves to talk about enthusiasm as well. And he says that this word derives from Latin and Greek, meaning to be possessed by the breath of God. Now, isn't that a definition? Enthusiasm, through a Latin and Greek lens, literally translates to be possessed by the breath of God. When you are enthusiastic, the breath of God is moving through you. When you are joyful, when you are blissed out, when you are ecstatic, when you are motivated to move, life force energy, the breath of God, something higher, your higher self, however you want to put this, is moving you into action, is breathing through you, is breathing as you. Okay, so in that frame, I feel like that really kind of paints the severity, the positive severity of what enthusiasm really is. It's literally the breath of God moving in you, through you, as you. You're possessed by God. Okay? It's extreme. It's extravagant, and it is. Enthusiasm is like super powerful, and I think it's really nice how he draws us back to the root of this word, and he hammers this word enthusiasm so deeply because it is a big deal. Enthusiasm is a huge energy that up until now, up until flipping through these keys, I don't know if I really understood the severity of enthusiasm. So enthusiasm's good stuff. It's like kryptonite. It is impossible to be indifferent to a miracle. And this is what the 16th Siddhi does, right? It demonstrates miracles time and time again. It's that person who's never touched a piano that can now play the Rachmaninoff's third piano concerto. So sorry, I totally butchered that. But it's miraculous. The person who embodies mastery is constantly demonstrating miracles, which is super powerful, because talk about igniting enthusiasm. If you who's watching this has ever witnessed a miracle, you know just how jaw-dropping it is and how much, whatever you want to call it, joy, enthusiasm, awe, wonder it brings into your being, how much breath of God it downloads into you, how much you start to be possessed by the breath of God. In other words, believe in the divine, believe in something higher. It opens up a valve of curiosity for not only the person demonstrating the miracle and embodying the mastery, but also the person witnessing, to get explorative and curious about what's out there, what's the meaning of life, who is God, where is God, what is God. It just opens a whole new realm. The gecko agrees. So yes, it's impossible to be indifferent to a miracle. And this is exactly what the 16th Siddhi does. It performs miracles. So I guess this is technically the second contemplation of this video. The first one was more of a meditation. But the second offering of this video is, think of a time where you witnessed a miracle. And it doesn't have to be something that someone else would consider a miracle, just something that you personally think is miraculous. So as long as you find it jaw-droppingly awesome, it is a miracle. Think of a time where you witnessed a miracle, like a gorgeous synchronicity, and think about how it left you feeling. Did it ignite enthusiasm or joy? Did it make you curious or full of wonder? Did it stick with you? Does it still stick with you? What did you learn from it, derive from it, observe from it? Who was involved in that miracle? Were other characters in your life, maybe people you know or don't, present? Just go over this in your mind or journal about it if you feel so inspired. I think it's important and fun to recount a miraculous moment in your life and think about the people that were operating in that experience as well, to start to understand this Siddhic state of mastery on a deeper level than just this conversation we're having. I guess this isn't a conversation, it's me talking at you. You get the point. To really remember a time in which you experienced a miracle will help download the wisdom of what Richard Rudd is explaining here in words. It's going to help this understanding kind of sediment. He gives us the definition of true mastery. He says, true mastery is to have absolutely no individual power whatsoever. It's to merge with the divine will and therefore become a master of nothingness. True mastery, true Siddhic state, true enlightenment, true miracles. The person who performs a true miracle never says, oh, I did that. Yeah, that was me. Thanks, I'll take the credit, I'll take the money, I'll take the admiration, I'll take the fame. A true master is someone who says, something was working through me to be of service. It is my highest joy to be the instrument that was used in this experience. But I cannot take credit. No, I cannot take money. I cannot take validation. I cannot take fame. This person doesn't want any of those things. This person doesn't want anything. This person is like overwhelmed with gratitude that they were a part of the experience, that they were used by the divine, that the breath of God possessed them and channeled through them. And so this is super important because this is what is going to differentiate real miracles from false and phony power-hungry, egotistic, oppressive leaders, which those people do exist as well. So you can even tie this understanding into the contemplation I just offered you. Was it true mastery, true miracle that you experienced? Was this person overwhelmed with gratitude that they were a part of the experience, or were they trying to take credit? Because the thing about true mastery and the person who performs true miracles is they are a giver through and through. They're never trying to take anything. This person embodies and gives more energy to the experience, gives gratitude, gives joy, gives presence, gives loves. They never take credit, take validation, take money, or take ownership. And this is a huge differentiation between what it's like to have a lot of power in the shadow frequency of taking and to have a lot of power in the the SIDDHI state of mastery, always giving. And I mean, that's a whole rabbit hole. Oh, that was it, guys. I just flipped the page and it's over. Well, it's a nice little thing to end on. Caught me by surprise. Well, that's the whole 16th city and the whole 16th gene key. And stay tuned for the 17th gene key, the I, which is one of my favorites that I've read so far, if not my favorite gene key that I've read thus far. So I'm super excited to start dissecting that gene key with you all. Feel free to drop a comment, leave what inspired you, what resonated, even what didn't resonate. Always curious to hear that as well. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in with me for this Gene Keys episode. I also just wanted to come on here and start promoting my one-to-one coaching that I offer to women and girls ages 16 to 35. If you followed me on Instagram for a while, you might be a little bit familiar with my story. I was a model in New York City for 5 years, and in that time frame, I did quite some damage. I developed a really severe eating disorder, body dysmorphia, chronic anxiety. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even go out to dinner without thinking about how much calories, how much I'd have to overwork out in order to compensate for what I was eating. All of those issues led to quite a depression and turned into PCOS, and I also lost my menstrual cycle for over 5 years. All of this amalgamation of issues led me to soon realize that something needed to change. I went through much work. Many people helped me to get to where I am now. And I'm so thrilled to say I'm living such a more abundant life, and I don't feel zapped and drained and fear of judgment anymore like I used to. I would love to offer what I've learned through my own embodied experience, the meditative techniques that have gravitated toward me, and the own verified games that I've made up and curated to help you walk home to more of you and who you really are, so that all of these things can stop draining your energy. You know, all the constant comparison to others and to your people on Instagram, all the over-analysis about working out and what you're eating or what you look like. All of these things are not what life's about, as cheesy as it sounds. And I would love to help you come into more unity with you if you struggle with any of these things and you're a woman or girl between the ages of 16 and 35. So feel free to reach out to me if one-on-one coaching sounds resonant. You can feel free to DM me through Instagram or contact me via email, both of which will be left below in the description box. So much love and aloha to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.